Hey everyone, today we will be reviewing the Star Wars High Republic Eye of the Storm comics by Marvel. This miniseries is written by Charles Soule, who has also authored numerous other Star Wars comics and novels, including the Vader comics, the mainline Star Wars 2020 run, as well as the first adult novel installment of the High Republic era called The Light of the Jedi. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date. So we start out by getting some background on Marchion people. He is basically what remains of the Evereni people from the planet Everon. It is explained that the climate on this planet was treacherous, unceasing rain, constant lightning. This environment caused the Evereni people to embrace motion, change, and to always be ready to adapt. They took care of their planet and trusted that the planet would take care of them. We then read that a once-in-a-millennium vortex changed everything. Nothing could withstand the storm, not even the Evereni cities, which were designed for such climates. The great storm caused their people to make decisions that were selfish. They learned to trust no one, to trust nothing. This caused war, seemingly endless war. After centuries of fighting and dwindling populations, the Evereni left their home planet. They were astonished to find that they were not alone in the galaxy. Because of their untrusting ways, they engaged in many conflicts and were deemed outlaws and were hunted. They learned to hide their intentions. They learned that above all else, you must take care of yourself. So we really get a sense of the type of people Marchion comes from. His baseline motivations all stem from the history of his people. It shows that he doesn't care about the Nile, and that they are just a vessel for him to achieve his ultimate goals. We also get an explanation for why the Nile has chosen the storm structure for their hierarchy, which is pretty intriguing, I think. We then jump to when Marchion is a young child. We see him interacting with Mari Santeca, while his father and grandmother watch. His grandmother predicts that he will be the point to the blade of their people, which has been sharpened generation after generation. Asgar, Marchion's father, and his grandmother then argue over when to fully utilize the Nile and how to use the powers of Mari Santeca. She hints that she has seen the Nile and the Jedi battle in the past, which may give a clue as to what we will see in Phase 2 of the High Republic, which goes back approximately 150 years before the events of Phase 1. They continue arguing to the point where Asgar pushes his mother over the balcony, falling to her death. We then jump to Asgar showing up to the Nile camps. He is mocked upon his arrival and makes them a wager. He bets them that they won't be able to shoot down his young son Marchion in a small starfighter. Marchion, with the help of Mari Santeca, displays the power of the paths, easily destroying the ships of the attacking Nile. Those who survived agreed to Asgar's terms, and the Nile, as we were first introduced to them, was born. The first issue finishes with an older Marchion finding his father dying on the ground in No Space, the Nile headquarters. He watches him die, not bothering to try to help him. He takes the helmet of the Eye and takes the place of his father as the Eye of the Nile. This essentially gets us to the point where we first meet him in the novels. He takes his mantle and must prove himself to the Nile. The second and final issue of this miniseries jumps to the end of the final novel, The Fallen Star. If you haven't read this book, or if you haven't finished the High Republic main comic run, this might get into a few spoilers. The story opens with Jedi Master Obratuk Glee captured as a prisoner on the Gaze Electric. Marchion Ro mocks him with the news that the Starlight Beacon has fallen and that many of the Jedi have died. It then jumps to Coruscant, showing the Chancellor and other officials of the Galactic Republic trying to figure out how to handle the Nile threat and deciding just who is this Eye of the Nile. It is then made known that the Jedi are calling back all other Jedi from the frontier to gather them at the temple on Coruscant. I find this interesting because this is more in line with how we see the Jedi in the Phantom Menace. So to see how they get there is very intriguing to me. The reasoning behind this decision had been made to keep the Jedi safe as they were trying to figure out what the Nile have been using to target and destroy the Jedi. The weapon that turned Loden Greatstorm to dust. We then get to see how Marchion is able to obtain the weapon against the Jedi. He is seen recruiting a crew of Nile to accompany him on the mission. His family has passed down the knowledge on where these weapons could be found. The world he takes them to attacks them as they make their approach, taking the scout ships as payment for Marchion's passage to the surface. When they land, the world is beautiful, with colorful creatures and plants. Marchion then places a crystal into some sort of beacon, causing all the creatures of the world to start attacking them, while calling to them a special, nameless prize. The almost smoke-like beasts are captured by Ro. This is our first real look at the Nameless, which is the weapon that causes fear, confusion, and death to the Jedi. So these creatures are similar to something we've seen in Legends material. The Salamari created a bubble around themselves in which the Jedi could not use their Force abilities. They were utilized by Thrawn in the Heir to the Empire novel series. This sounds kind of like an extreme version of that, and I'm here for it. We have seen in the novels where Marchion acquired and tested his first of these creatures. At the time, it was called the Leveler. We now see him gathering more of these creatures to inflict even more pain and loss to the Jedi. The story then moves back to the present timeline, with Marchion celebrating the destruction of Starlight with the Nile, instructing them in his plans to cause further devastation to the wreckage site by using hijacked Corellian cruisers. Finally, we start to get an answer to the biggest question of all. What is Marchion's motivation? He unveils his plan to create a home where the Nile are free from the laws of the galactic government. He shows them Chancey Yaro's creation, the Storm Seed. These Storm Seeds are spread throughout the Nile's claimed space. Anyone who tries to travel through hyperspace lanes through that area will be destroyed. In all, 10 sectors of the Outer Rim are effectively cut off from the core worlds. We then see the story back with Master Obatruck and Ro on the Gaze Electric. Marchion shines his beacon, and the Nameless arrives, turning the ancient Jedi Master to dust as Marchion mocks his lack of ability to do anything about it. This comic wrapped up Phase 1 of the High Republic in such a great way. The Nile have been victorious and have some really unique weapons that make them a dynamic adversary. Star Wars has always been about the Force and about the battle between the light and the dark, but with this series it has been a different take on that battle, pulling from Legends a little bit, finding some really intriguing ways to approach the Force, the Jedi, and how they can be defeated. We know that Phase 2, which will begin in the fall of 2022, goes back in time about 150 years before the events of Phase 1. To me, it makes sense that we will get to see more of the backstory behind the Nameless, which is what Marchion refers to these Jedi-killing beasts as. There is also a good chance that we will get to experience Yoda in his prime. It made sense in Phase 1 to introduce new characters and to get the audience invested in them, while still sprinkling a little bit of a fan favorite like Yoda into the story. However, for Phase 2, in my opinion, they shouldn't hold back in showing us just what he can do. I also think that we may see him uncover some sort of knowledge about this threat, which could tie into his quest during Phase 1 and why he is missing. All I know is that I am really excited to see what is coming in Phase 2, and even more excited to get back to this timeline, which one would assume is where Phase 3 will return to. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Did you like this miniseries, and what are you most excited for with the future of the High Republic? If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel to be kept up to date for our future Star Wars commentary. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.